Welcome to Spiritual as Fuck,
Spiritual as Fuck,
a podcast where we explore everything outside of the ordinary. I'm Liz Volpe. I'm a social entrepreneur, now psychic medium, teacher and mentor with a huge passion to inspire people to dream big and change the world.
I'm Diane Driscoll, a coach, facilitator and speaker. I'm also a psychic intuitive, learning to incorporate my spiritual gifts into my life and business.
We're here today to share real and raw spiritual stories. It's going to give you a safe space to challenge what's normal and have some serious fun along the way.
We hope you're ready to get spiritual as fuck.
Hello, everyone, from wherever you are in the world, because it seems like every time we check, we have another country following along with us, which is pretty funny, Diane, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. There's nearly no countries left.
I know, right? We need to get a map on the wall where we're just kind of ticking them off, don't we? And
Absolutely.
ensure that we get around the world with Spiritual as Fuck. But welcome. Obviously, we are getting into 2024 now, and today is going to be an episode with just Diane and I, my favourite, of course, getting to share our experiences. And honestly, this is really just like being involved with one of our phone calls, because we pick up the phone and have hour-long conversations on all sorts of different stuff. So welcome aboard. Welcome to join in. And today we want to share some experiences that have been, I guess, taking place for us the last few months. Have you been feeling the magic in the air? Have you been feeling the pull towards anything a little bit different at the moment? Because we have. And Diane will share some of her experiences. But for me personally, since last year, I've been having this chain of synchronistic events, spiritual experiences, let's call them, that have just really heightened my curiosity in a few different areas. And when I say that, I'm talking past lives, ancient civilizations. I'm talking this connection that I've never really felt as strong to learning about my ancestors. And it's just been magic. And this list and these synchronistic and kind of magic experiences that I've been having have been really amazing. And Diana, I know that you've been feeling that magic in the air as well.
Yeah, I don't know, I would term it magic, but I definitely feel like a soul calling, a soul pull to things. And a lot of them are things that, yeah, have recalled from the past, like things that you just think, oh, is there a past life element with this? Or it's rekindling something that I was interested in when I was younger. So definitely. And then some new stuff coming up as well that it's like, I have no idea what all this is about, but I'm being pulled in this direction.
Oh, I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's a giant jigsaw. You've got to kind of work out, why the hell am I getting pulled to this right now? What is it about this person? What is it about this? And, I guess sometimes you never really understand or know the answer to why you feel connected to something or a place or a person. But it's fun. It's fun to investigate, that's for sure. I know that you went away at the weekend. I'd love to hear your experience with something that you found that you were really good at.
Oh gosh, yeah, this was bizarre. I went. So my coach and mentor Pauline Nguyen does this Ziva retreat a couple of times a year. Actually, there's a pause on it for now because she's working on some new stuff. But as part of this, so this is like a group of spiritual entrepreneurs going in, doing some really heavy lifting work, like deep work, transformative work. But then there's always an element of play or a fun activity that we do that kind of helps integrate the learnings or bring it on another level. So what we ended up doing was going to a laser clay pigeon shooting range. Now, this for me, so if you imagine me walking up the laneway to this and thinking, oh, fuck guns. Like I suddenly started to feel like really uncomfortable about it, even though I grew up around, like my dad used to go hunting. My dad used to go hunting and like I like shot a rifle, shot a shotgun when I was growing up. But like there's so many negative associations now, but I was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm okay with this. But then I had this flood of memories of my dad used to do clay pigeon shooting as well, and like watching a lot of that and thinking, oh, just the accuracy, the speed, the watching all of this. But then I stepped up to do it and I thought, I am going to be so shithouse at this. I am just going to be the worst. And I feel that weight of responsibility. You're on a team, you should be good at this. And I was pretty damn hot. I was like, where the fuck did
Ah,
that come from? And in the moment, not just for myself, but for the group of ladies I was on the team with, every one of us was piping up with, seriously, there has to be a past life where I was really good at this. I'm afraid to dig into it, but it was almost like everything just seemed so comfortable, so automatic, so like, yeah, that I had done something with this in a past life, because I definitely, yeah, it's not something that I
isn't
have any
that
living muscle memory of.
interesting?
Yeah, yeah. But it was just such a funny lens to look at that through, because it wasn't a calling to go off and do this. It was a moment that was presented to me that was like, oh, this is much more than just something new I'm learning.
Oh, and I love it. Just reminding me of those little clips that sometimes come up on Instagram where you see like a really young child, like 2 years old, that's playing like Beethoven on a piano.
Oh
You know,
my
you're
God.
like,
Yep.
obviously that
Yeah.
person or that child is, has lived a life as a pianist.
Yeah. Or
Um,
come back. They are Beethoven. They've
well,
come.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, past lives. I mean, they're so interesting. My whole kind of curiosity and heightened curiosity in this area started at the very end of last year. For the first time ever, had a shamanic experience. And one of my good friends, Lisa, held this really short, like 15 minutes heart style meditation, like a shamanic meditation.
Yeah.
And you know me, I talk about it a lot. Don't necessarily like meditating. I do very quick 5 to 10 minutes in my way. So I was a bit apprehensive, but I dove into this shamanic experience, and holy shit, did I go wild!
Oh.
I went somewhere else, and it was extraordinary. I'm talking 1 minute I could hear a voice, and 1 minute I felt myself in the stars, like this connection to the stars and the earth. And I suddenly kind of dropped to the earth, and I felt myself and saw clairvoyantly myself drop into a pyramid. And I saw a landscape. I could see the pyramids, the stars up above, and a light that just beamed down into the center of a pyramid. But then when I landed and I almost heard a thud, I kind of fell onto the floor, and I looked up and I was in a cave, and I could see my arm and my hand. And I realized, whoa, I'm in a body. It wasn't my hand, but I could
Oh,
see a
fuck.
hand.
Okay.
And my hand was drawing symbols onto a cave wall. So, and I could clearly see, these 4 to 5 symbols that I drew. And really quickly from there, I felt this huge kind of spirit of a wolf kind of encompass me. And I felt and met this wolf before, definitely one of my spirit animals. And then before you know it, I'm out of it. And I'm scrambling for a piece of paper and drawing what I could
Write it
remember of the
down.
symbols down. Like, holy shit, what just happened?
We know Liz loves to journal and write everything down.
And they sat there for a few days, and I kind of was like, woof, whoa, that was deep,
Yeah.
And I spoke to my friend Lisa afterwards, and she was like, oh yeah, wow, you really went somewhere in that time. But a few days later, I went and picked up the symbols, and the automatic thing that popped into me was, these look really familiar. These look quite similar to rune stones. So I'm there bringing my rune stones out, getting the book out, and believe it or not, there were 3 of them that were actual rune symbols.
Oh, okay.
And 2 of them that were not found on my rune stones, but I then went and had a quick Google. And I had a message that honestly completely resonated through those symbols. They were like hieroglyphics. And that was kind of the start of this domino effect of experiences that, I don't know, what do you feel happened to me there, Diane?
Oh gosh. So now I guess for our listeners, I had tiny snippets of this, like definitely didn't hear the full story because Liz and I just have a million things to tell each other every day. But I know that like when you mentioned some of this to me, you never mentioned about your hand, like feeling you were dropped into someone else's body. And it's like my whole body shuddered at that. And I wanted to ask you, did it feel like you were visiting a past life? Did it feel like, was it other dimensional? What did it feel like in that moment? Had you considered that? Had you thought about
The first kind of thought when I came from the stars was that I was like literally a star person. Honestly.
Can I ask you, like, when you say star person, do you mean, the term star seed? Is that
Yes.
like, so you're of the stars, you're not of this world, you're of the stars?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
But when I had that third onto the ground, I was very aware that I was definitely a human being.
Physical.
But
Yeah.
it was this kind of ancient connection through the pyramids, through the stars. I don't know, honestly. I don't like to think too much even about it, but it was really amazing.
So I think that this had a ripple effect, not just for you, but for me, as often things do, because we were on a call one day. I don't even remember what we were chatting about, but you asked me about the symbol of the ankh. And I was
Mhm.
shocked that you didn't know what that was. I'm thinking, oh my God, I had a necklace as an ankh when I was, a teenager. And now look at you.
Anyone watching on YouTube, this
You can
is an ankh.
see this is an Egyptian symbol, key of life symbol. And I've known what this is. I had, jewelry of it as a teenager. But when you said that, the two of us, of course, had this elevated, giggly girl moment of we were both having so much stuff coming into us both about Egypt at that point in
Mm.
time. And I can't remember, you went over to look at a book on your shelf or something like that, and when you pulled it out, there was actually an ankh on the cover of the book that you picked out. For me, I went and I picked out some cards later on that day, and there were ankhs on the card as well, and also started watching Gaia, the ancient civilisations series. So I literally signed up for Gaia. I was doing, because I was being called to, not like
Mm.
I'm always called to ancient civilizations anyway, but Egypt more and more. And all of it, like as I was watching these Gaia episodes, I'm like, oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. I remember that. Not from a past, I'm not saying from a past life perspective, like as in this was all stuff that I was so interested and so called to and so absolutely passionate about as a teenager, early 20s maybe, but teenager definitely, that all of these things, like and the science behind it, so much of the science, but I have always been called to it. And it seems now that both of us, I believe it to be different paths, but I think that both of us are being called to it in different ways as well.
Oh, definitely. And I love, you just said when you're watching something like those ancient civilizations programs, you just get a knowing that this stuff is correct. Does that make more sense? It's like when you're watching it and they're giving you science and they're giving you a different explanation than maybe like science outside of spirituality tells you, and you just get it. Oh yeah, of
Yes,
course. Yeah, it's like you have an inner knowing that what you're
absolutely.
listening to is not bullshit.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love
And
that.
it
But
takes no processing. I don't have to stop and think about it. I don't need more evidence. I don't need this, that, and the other. It's like, of course, yes, absolutely. Yes.
mm,
And even, things like sacred geometry or, a lot of the mathematics that go into some of those ancient sites as well. It's like, I am not a maths person. Like, I am so not a maths person. So it's all this stuff washes over me. But I'm thinking, of course, yes, I understand this. It's like, how the fuck do I understand this?
oh my god, oh yeah. And that the ankh thing, so that happened to me. I was just sat on holiday with my husband and he was asking me questions, and really quickly I got this ankh symbol shown in my head. I
Oh,
heard the words ancient civilization and had to quickly draw that symbol and then upload it on Google to find it.
yeah.
But as Diane said, this symbol is suddenly everywhere for me. I had no idea. I've seen it before. Don't get me wrong, I've
Yes,
seen it,
yeah.
but I had no idea what it was. And it means something like the key to life. And it
Key
was
of life,
used
yeah.
in ancient Egypt as a sign when people were passing over to connect. I don't know the whole thing about it. I only read it quickly and nearly fell off my chair. But really crazy. The crazy stories that you can only share on the Spirituals Foot podcast. You can't tell your normal neighbours or anything. Was there? I'd had this weird shamanic experience. I'm then getting symbols of the ankh into my head randomly. I'm then sat in bed one night and I'm going to find Netflix to watch my normal program. And I go on to Netflix, and instead of Netflix opening, Gaia opens, which I didn't even have a subscription for that I knew about. But not just that, a
Oh,
program started playing, and as it started playing, it was saying the 16 symbols of ancient Egypt, and the ankh was the second symbol that played on my screen.
Because that was the first episode that when I signed up for Gaia and was watching the Ancient Civilisations, that episode, and I think that's like season 3 or something, that was the one that came up for me. And I watched it and I was like, fascinated. And that was one of the ones that was like, I know this, I know this, I know this. And then I thought, oh, no, I just need to go back. When I realized it was like season 3 or something, I went back to the beginning and totally consuming it. Like, because again, similarly to you, like I know you're saying this in terms of Egypt, but for me, ancient civilizations, since I was young, like really, really young, I have always just had massive callings. And like, I didn't leave Ireland, like I didn't fly anywhere or go anywhere overseas until I was 20, 21. And when I did, and it was like, here's the opportunity, where am I going to go? And it was, I had to go to, like, it was ancient, seven ancient wonders of the world. That was like, they were the things. I know I can't see anything, they're all gone apart from the pyramids. But it was like, I went to Turkey, so I went to Troy, the ancient ruins of Troy. Now, and for anyone who's been there isn't a lot to look at, but for me, it was energetically, and it was like, I was pulled and drawn to this. Then, they also going to like at the whole way through Turkey, but Ephesus, where the temple of Artemis is, like that was another huge thing. So the actual where the temple is the most god awful pillar that is like one single pillar that is a few things. There's so much cement in it, there's very little pillar left, and this is what's to represent the ancient temple of Artemis. But then there is also a huge big site at Ephesus that you can go and see as well. And then went on down to Rhodes because I wanted to see where the Colossus at Rhodes was. And again, there's nothing to see. Like you can't see, like these ancient wonders are now gone. But I had such a soul calling that I had to go to these. Then straight over to Greece and had to go to the Acropolis and lots of other sites around in Greece. And eventually years later going to Egypt. So it's like, and I have a whole new raft of soul calling destinations that I'm being pulled to, absolutely pulled to, and to the point where I know I've shared here previously about going to Uluru with Ali McKelvey, who was one of the guests we had on the show, which again came out of nowhere. I was being pulled to Uluru. I was calling out to the universe to say, just, I don't want to go on my own. Give me someone to go with. And Ali drops out of nowhere saying, oh, by the way, we're going to Uluru together. So just these soul callings and things that just seem to intersect to allow you to get there, whether it's in a dream state for you or whether it's the physical travel for me. But that calling has been reawoken in me so much that I know this year, without a doubt, I'm going to travel so much this year. There will be so many more of those ancient sites. So whether it's earth chakras, whether it is vortexes, whether it is ancient civilization sites, all that stuff that calls to me. And I have no idea why I'm being called there other than general interest, but there feels like there's something important energetically, whether you call it grid worker, whether you call it, that you're doing some sort of alignment with the earth's energies. No idea what that is, but I'm not going to deny the call. Yeah.
You don't need to understand why. You've just got to trust the process, trust the pull. It's the same when you meet someone. We all have probably met someone that you just feel really pulled to, energetically you feel aligned to. You probably are from a past life together. You've probably been through different lives. And if that ever drops into your mind, trust it.
Yes.
No one else needs to believe what you're saying, but your soul remembers, your soul knows. And I feel like if you can live your life going with that pull of energy, it opens so many doors. The synchronistic events happen, the coincidences. I think it's just living with that magic in your life.
Yeah, definitely. And I look at us, like I know Lisa Salvatore had mentioned this to us about us having past lives together. And it's like, I didn't doubt that for a second. It's like, yeah, of course. Like, I don't know what that is. It's not like I've had, downloads or drop-ins of information from that. But when you meet people that you are instantly comfortable with, that you totally get each other and you just seem to complement each other. And even like in some cases, you may meet them, in a split second and there's fireworks and explosions. Maybe it's a romantic relationship, or therefore other people, it might be like us. Our paths crossed a couple of times, before the big moment of, shit, we're going to work together and we're going to do something that's, that neither of us are at all comfortable with. But fuck it, we're going to do this. Why? Because somewhere in a past life, we have unfinished business that we need to attend to, or a learning or a service that we need to offer in service of other people. Because of the holographic kinetics healing work that I do, a lot of that brings you into past life for clearing reasons.
Right. Wow.
So I've had so much of that I'm aware of, but I guess you're also taught to don't hold on to it. So many things have come up, but I don't hold on to it. They're not things that I think that there's a learning from that I need to carry forward to this life. But yes, I have had. So there's someone in my life right now that I've been told that we are joined for a healing soul contract. So we've constantly come back into each other's lives to heal each other is one. And this same person, I was told that, sorry, I'm laughing at this, but apparently we stole a crystal many lives ago, and there was a curse, so to speak, on us that crystal had to be put back. And I went through a clearing exercise to have that crystal, in my mind put back into the place. I'm like, holy shit. And, there's things like this that your rational mind comes into play.
You're
And
like,
you're
wait
thinking,
a minute.
as you're going through this, you're thinking, seriously, I do not have this crystal in my hand. It doesn't matter how much you're going to walk me through. But at the same time, I will say 100%, when I had that clearing done, I was so different afterwards. Like there was even a point where I was, I'm trying to think of volatile. I just felt ungrounded, actually quite energetically sick, if that makes sense. Just felt really, really out of sorts for a couple of days. And then everything, it was like whatever needed to clear had cleared. And yeah, hey presto, here's the new and improved version of Diane. So
Oh my God.
a lot of these things call you to suspend your intellectual thinking, because there is no there is no rhyme nor reason to a lot of it. So tell me about your past life regression. Well, because I actually don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean, this happened like years ago. I think early 20s. I think at the time I had some fears that were in my life. I don't actually really remember the details, but there were some things that I wanted to kind of go under hypnosis even, to discover. And I ended up going into this past life where I could see myself as a young girl, probably like 5 or 6 years old, charging across a field as the air raids happened in England during the war. And I felt like it was instantly the World War One, and I was just remember running and hearing huge sirens going off and diving on the floor and kind of keeping myself sheltered. And it was so clear. And I didn't really give it too much thought, but I feel like I've experienced something like that, definitely. And then more recently, again with Lisa Salvatore, she clearly saw me living and being burned at the stake as a witch, which 100% I have absolutely
I did not know that came out on
doubt.
your reading. I didn't know that came out with Lisa. So because you have had some drawings to there's something there about a witch, or so, like you were feeling, or there was signs and symbols and things coming up for you. I didn't realize that came out in your reading.
Yeah, that's right. It was really crazy. I'd done the reading with Lisa. She told me that when she looked at my astrology, that in about 4 weeks after my reading was done, that I was kind of coming to an end of a soul chapter in my life of healing after being burned at the stake. And that very same night, I can't remember if I've shared this story before, that very same night, my husband Jesse just texted me a photograph of a witch being burned at the stake for no reason at all. And I Googled the thing, and it was from the Salem witch trial. I was like, what made you send me that picture? That is the most weirdest, most random timing. And there were kind of, again, a whole range of like synchronistic events that happened after Lisa told me that. But funnily enough, when I was honestly 8 years old, I used to watch this short film that Steven Spielberg made about the witch trials. And I used to rewind it and watch it and watch it and watch it. There was something so familiar to me about that experience. So when Lisa Salvador said that I'd been a witch in my past life, I was like, 100% that rings true. And I'm sure many people
And
listening
that's
today
why,
have probably been with me
yes,
along for the ride there too.
yeah, but I do believe that when you hear something that it's an instant. It's not a, oh, maybe. It's like, there's something
Mm.
inside you that just knows what it is. So,
It's like, yeah,
we,
that makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense.
because I know if you go for whether it's an Akashic reading or a past lives reading, because I had some Akashic work done recently. And again, similarly, there, like I was floored by the amount of things. A lot of them were things that were right present in this life that were referred to, but previous things as well. And I was like, I just know like 100% these things are resonating. It's not that I'm looking for, meaning in my life, or I'm not looking for past life information. It was like, I was, again, we talk about callings. I was called to this person. This opportunity came up. To work with Veronica, who is the Akashic Scribe is her name on Instagram. But I was presented this opportunity, and it was from a person I trust so much. So I knew that they only work with the best. They only like that. They just vet people. Like it was Pauline, my coach again. She had suggested that anybody who felt they were ready for this type of reading and some third eye activation, and no joke, Veronica blew my mind. The amount of stuff that was falling out of this lady. And it was like, yes, 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 that
Wow.
makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Just everything was, and again, whether for anyone listening, you will know yourself. If it doesn't make sense, and you hear whether it is, a medium or a tarot card reader or people like that who'll say for you, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you're trying to make something fit, that's the stuff that you leave. Or it might come up a couple of days later and then it makes sense for you. But in that
Mm.
moment, don't try to just be kind of get the square peg into a round hole. If you will know, like from what you're saying, Liz, you were the same. It was like just, yeah, it's either, oh, of course it is. So not a surprise, or something deep in your bones. It's like, yeah, that shit's really true.
Mm. Oh God. And I feel like this now after having these shamanic experiences. I'm really called to learn about that side of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Pulling in the spirit animals. I'm feeling like this raw calling to like connect with the land and to feel into shamanism and the medicine. And oh my God, I just find it so exciting to learn about. And again, I can't ignore that kind of pull, that
Yeah.
excitement and magic feeling that I'm getting with like learning something new in that area.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It sparks off. So, whether it is a dream or a shamanic experience, or, something that happens in life, and it has a chain reaction of events or symbols and signs and things that are just constantly ramping up. There's something in that you need to kind of almost like pull the thread and follow along with
Mm.
it. So, yeah, I know for me, there seems to be a lot of different streams of this happening at the moment because um, I know I've mentioned it before. Human design is another thing that I'm constantly being called to. And I'm almost holding it a little bit at bay until this year. So I've kind of created space to be able to do it this year because I could easily fall down the rabbit hole of learning. But this is something that I know whether I become a human design reader or incorporate it into my work, there's elements that I need to learn from that. It was similar to the holographic kinetics healing training
Mm.
that I did. I don't believe I'm ever going to be a healing practitioner in that modality. That's not the I guess that's not the reason behind it. I feel like I'm just there's knowledge that needs to be imparted to me from that modality that I will take into other things that I'm doing. But it's so interesting to feel that you're being called to learn something, or here's the teacher who needs to learn you or create those experiences for you. So
Mm.
is there anyone like
Or
that
even
that you've
healing.
been called to? Yeah.
Well, the other experience I would love to share, kind of, because it feels like this is that soul calling, that ancestral pull. Um, you know, there's probably many ways that you could probably explain this, but after having that crazy 15-minute shamanic experience, I then did a 2 hour around the medicine wheel experience with
Yes.
my friend Lisa. And this was completely different to the short one I'd done. And I'm not going to bore you to death by going through the 2 hours, let me tell you, but I was somewhere else again. But this time it was really different. I found myself sat on top of a bird, which felt like an eagle sailing through the sky. And there was this huge connection to my mum. Like I could feel my mum by my side. And again, the stars were there. There was a real big focus on kind of rebirth and connecting to the womb. It was a bizarre experience. But at the end of this shamanic journey, the facilitator kind of brought us half out, and we had to really quickly just draw whatever came to us while we had, you know, 1 foot in this world, 1 foot in the other realm. And really quickly I drew this huge bird. And again, I drew a baby with this connection to my mum. And yeah, it was so funny. I was like, whoa, I came out of it and I was like half asleep. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. And I'd done this experience from a hotel in Melbourne, because that night we were going to my husband's Christmas party. So I'm like, literally the minute that I came out and drew something, I heard a knock on the door and I'm like, shit, I've got to get my thoughts together.
Yeah.
And my husband was at the door like that. We've got to move hotel rooms. So I'm like, bloody hell, shit, you know, packing all my stuff, scattered, you know, I hadn't grounded myself. Anyway, picked up all the cases, walked into the new room, and I stopped and I looked up, and the entire wall in front of me was a drawing of this huge bird. Yeah. And I literally picked up my notepad and was like, what the hell? Like literally the same bird. But it didn't stop there. 3 days later, my mum called me just for our general, you know, catch up, chit chat Sunday night. And she said to me, Liz, I've had the craziest experience. I think that my third eye's opened. And I was like having a giggle. Oh, Mum, how funny is it that we're chatting about shit like this? Anyway, she then said to me, 3 days ago, I woke up in the middle of the night. Now, she's obviously in England. And I was completely awake and I sat up in bed. And all of a sudden, it felt like my third eye, or in that area, I suddenly saw this bird that just came out and flew. And there was a big message around being freedom. And I was like, paused. And obviously my little mind was calculating the time. And it turns out that that exact experience was happening in my daytime, the same day, the same period of time that I was having that shamanic experience of the bird.
That is
what
freaky. Exactly. And it, like, that shows the connection between you and your mum as well. Like, that's so huge.
So I don't know, you know, what happened there. The soul, did we go and journey together where it did feel like a healing experience together? Actually, it really felt like our souls had been together many, many times. It felt really old, honestly.
Yeah. And it is, I'm sure that other people listening can relate to that in some way, like, so whether you've journeyed with someone or even just that feeling of knowing that you've had a lifetime with someone before. And that could be a family member, that could be someone that you've met. Just like, I know for me, my youngest sister, I know that we've definitely had multiple lifetimes together. Like, it just feels like, yeah, we've constantly, and I think in other lifetimes I've been the one to support her, she's been the one to support me, but I feel in this lifetime she's the one to support me. Like, she's the one who thinks that I'm not crazy, apart from you, Liz. When all the spiritual stuff goes on, it's like she's my go-to person for any of these things. But also my niece as well, who is really, like, I guess, spiritually gifted. But both of them, I just feel like that I've traveled through, and we've had different roles of supporting each other through it. Now, I don't have any specifics. I have had one past life thing that I was told about my sister, that we were, so this is going to be me being skeptic, but I was told that we were nuns together in a convent. And honestly,
I can see that. I can imagine you guys. No,
but this is the thing. The skeptic in me was like, okay, because you've got a person who's looking for a reading who happens to be an Irish Catholic, like, you're just going to say, oh, there were nuns in a past life. But then when I read the things that were going through and the experience, so this was like a written reading that was sent through, it all made sense. So I had to get over that initial resistance of the skeptic in me, then give me the evidence, give me. And then it very much was about, you know, one of us being the teacher, like being the leader and the teacher in one life. And then that was a soul lesson that needed to be carried through to this life. So there's like whether you call it a soul contract or a soul learning that needs to be done, but we're bound together in some way in this lifetime to be able to support each other. And this time she is the one who's supporting me to be the teacher in the work that I'm doing. So it's I'd encourage people who are listening to just think about who are the people in your life, like those people that and they generally give you that real sense of warm and fuzzy. They're easy to work with. They're easy to be around. They complement you in
They get
ways.
you.
Yeah. Now, there are obviously other relationships as well, that the ones that, that really teach us in a hard way, like,
I
the
was just
karmic.
about to say that,
Yeah.
because the whole karmic relationship, on if there is someone that can really triggers you, or someone that's challenged you, that's hurt you,
Yeah.
their belief is that you potentially that something's happened the other way around in a past life, and what could you actually do to get to the point where you can give forgiveness, or you can do something healing towards that person to hopefully break that karmic bond so you never have to see each other again.
Yeah. I think we definitely need to do an episode on this. It comes up so many times that we touch on the edge of that as a subject, but the different types of relationships, soul contracts, all of that, because it's such a huge topic in itself to go through. And I think for what we're chatting about today, it's about that magic. It's about that calling. Who are the people in your life? So don't think about the angst ones, or the ones that you think, oh, I had to learn a lesson the hard way from that person. But just
Stay
think
away from
about
the negative.
yeah, exactly. And like for anybody who even listens, tunes into us and hears the banter between Liz and I, and we often hear that people feel like they're, listening in, they're like fly on the wall, listening to a conversation between two friends. It's that ease, that flow, that you think about the people in your life that you've got that with. There is likely a past life connection for you with them.
Oh, definitely. And that's pretty special, I reckon. You don't need to
Oh,
be able to
definitely.
explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
And these
Exactly.
people can come along at any time as well. So sometimes, like you mentioned, you've got that sister where you're like, definitely, we feel like we've been here before together, but you can be, 50, 60 years down the line and through your life, and then you suddenly just meet someone on the bus. You suddenly get introduced to someone, and it's taken all of your life to be able to get to them, but you feel that sense of familiarity. You feel that, yes, absolutely. My husband always says people come along for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. They can pop in at any
I love
time,
that.
and they can make a beautiful difference. They can impact you. You feel that knowing in your soul, and you've just got to trust that. Let them in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. And it is that I do feel people are sent to us as teachers as well, that like I'll give an example. So Pauline Nguyen that I mentioned earlier, she I knew about Pauline for years and years as a keynote speaker. So that was how I knew her. And then I started to learn more about her spiritual entrepreneur work, and I I knew, I know, I'm going to work with Pauline one day. And the time wasn't right. And I'm a firm believer that, I just wait until I know that the time is right. And whatever, it must be almost 3 years ago now that I started working with her. But yeah, the time was right. The calling came, and instantly, oh my God, I grated against her immediately. I was like, oh my God, really, to
Oh,
the point
wow.
where, for lots of people listening won't know Pauline. Lots of people will have come across her work as well. But like, she is so embodied in who she is. Like, she is just, of all the people who you would consider to be authentically representing themselves, like, I just think that she is, power and grace in who she is. But her sexuality was one of the things that really grated against me. Like, I mean, she's just so open, she's so irreverent, and like, here's me with my Catholic Irish upbringing, very
We can't talk about that.
easily blushing kind of. Yeah, exactly. Like, literally.
Yeah.
But I knew at that point in time that no, I'm meant to work with Pauline, because there's things that I am not dealing with, not focusing on, or pushing to one side, or lessons I need to learn. And she is my teacher. So I knew that she was going to be my teacher. But a lot of people might have said, oh no, oh, the energetics are not working for me, or oh no, I don't, this is not working for me. But I knew in that moment that no, there's something that's rubbing against me, but that's what I need to learn. That's the beauty of what I need to learn. And clearly it's clearly there's lots of learnings because I'm still working with her 3 years later. It's but it is like lean into people. Like there are teachers, and teachers are not necessarily the gentle folk that come into your life, but again, you're still called, you're pulled. There's a magic in the work that you, or the experiences that you have with them.
Oh, definitely. And I'd really love to hear your stories and everything we're talking about here. Do you have a past life story? I know that I'm dying to get someone that has just like a crazy past life story. I've already been researching, so watch this space on that one. But even, when it comes to that pull towards ancient civilizations, that pull to a person, and it's not something that we'll really go into now, but even twin flames and soulmates,
Yeah.
there are people that are come into our life for a reason, and that's again a whole other episode that we can
Yeah,
have a chit chat
definitely.
on. In terms of anything else under the umbrella of being pulled and the magic for this year, is there anything else that's kind of on your radar, Diane?
I think so. One of the things, like I've mentioned previously, is around my word for the year is experiment. And I was kind of weighing it up with the word explore because travel was pulling to me so much. And then I thought, but it's not just travel that's pulling to me. There's so much more. Um, and in order to be able to allow myself to stop my intellect from overriding me, I'm just going to experiment with whatever I'm called to do this year, whether it's to work with a person, whether it is to go to a place, whether it is to live an experience. I am, as far as I possibly can, going to push myself to do it. So there are so many things that are like, I'm running out of notepad space to write down all of the places that I want to visit. So it's more than tuning in to say, I'm going to wait for an opportunity. Well, it's not that I'm going to wait for an opportunity like Uluru. I'm going to put it out there, call to say the right opportunities with the right people are going to present themselves to me. And I am going to be poised. I am poised and ready to go when those opportunities come up. And then from the learning path, the human
Ooh.
design thing is very much the thing that I'm being pulled and called to, but also like experiential learning. So I do a lot of stuff online, like most people do nowadays, but I come into my own when I'm either facilitating experiential learning for people myself, or whether I'm a student in that environment where you're around lots of other people. And if I can do that along with being in a place that it has an energetic resonance for me, that's what I think will blow my socks off. So
Oh, I'm
that's what I'm being
excited.
called to do. So if anybody's out there listening, you could do what Ali McKelvey did. You can just, drop a message to me or Liz and say, hey, I'm doing this, or I feel called, we should do that. It's like, we will always know when things are for us. It's just, if you get that inkling, and whether it's to us, whether it's someone else, but if you get that calling to go somewhere with someone, learn something from someone, start a relationship with someone, just give it a go. Like, go experiment. What's the worst that can happen? Like, just have your wits about you, like observe, as you go. But yeah, there's just so many things out there that our soul or our inner compass, our intuition are pulled towards, that we get so busy in day-to-day life that we're keep pushing them to the side, keep pushing them to the side. It's like, have 2024 be the year that you can say, no, fuck it. This year, I'm going to go with it.
Absolutely. And don't think you have to have a plan. That's part of the magic.
Oh, absolutely. That's why my word is like literally a license to have no plan.
Yeah, I mean, so perfect, so
Yeah.
perfect. And
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm the same. My word is alignment. And I'm just everything that comes along, every door that's opening, everything that pops in my head. Does this align? How does this feel? Let's
Yes.
do this. Let's not do this. And I'm being like really strict to myself, and I'm not just saying yes to things. I'm not just going to go with the flow. I don't even want to plan what's going to be happening at the end of the year. I'm living every single day as it stands, and I'm feeling into the magic. And yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm seeing the Ankh because I'm meant to go to Egypt next month. Who knows? We will see.
Oh, next month.
Well, I mean, actually, it won't be next month because I'm going to be in Cambodia then, but that's good.
Yeah.
Also going to be interesting because in about 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be sat on the beautiful ancient civilization of Angkor Wat, one of the oldest temples in the world. actually meditating and doing a sound healing.
Yes.
So watch this space for Lizzie's crazy adventures into the land of ancient civilizations.
Oh my gosh, because I've been to Angkor Wat and the energy there
Oh, it's
anyway, but
magic.
to do a sound healing will be incredible.
Oh, it will. But on that note, we hope you have enjoyed our experience of past lives and ancestors and spirit animals and everything else that we've managed to kind of talk about today. I have to say that we have some incredible guests coming up over the next few months. We're kind of counting down the days, and we'll be sharing stories and different experiences in this kind of realm, as well as many, many others. We'll be bringing in a few guests that have those crazy, shocking stories too, that hopefully you share with all your friends. So it's going to be exciting. And again, as always, make sure that you head to Instagram to follow our page. That's really where we hear your stories and get to chit chat and have a hell of a lot of fun along the way. And that's at spiritual.a.f. Until next time, thank you very, very much.
That's it for another episode.
Thank you for listening. Did you know that we are building a movement of 1 million people who are spiritual as fuck? We would love for you to join us. You can start by leaving us a review on Apple Podcast. Every month, I'm going to intuitively choose one person and do a psychic reading for you. So
follow us on Instagram, send in your stories and topic suggestions, and join the movement
at spiritual.a.f. Until next time.